I'm Dr. Sage Debexidon Breslin, and I'm here to give you the dirty little details about domestic violence. Each year, about 4.8 million women are sexually assaulted or physically assaulted in their intimate partner relationships. About 2.9 million men are also assaulted in their relationships every year. While domestic violence is likely to be pretty underreported, that research indicates into statistics that parlay into the victimization of, say, 1 in 2 women in their lifetime and 1 in 4 men. Now imagine going into a restaurant. You sit down, you're ready for a nice meal. Look around the room, see who else is there. How do you feel when you think that half the women in the restaurant have been or will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime? Look again. A quarter of those men around you have already been or will be violated. It's staggering. In 2007, IPV resulted in approximately 2,300 people's deaths. Of those victims, 70% were women, 30% were men. The medical care, mental health services, and lost productivity associated with IPV represented an estimated $5.8 billion in 1995. Now, if we shift gears and we look at 2003 dollars, that's more than $8.3 billion lost as a result of intimate partner violence. What if we just invested in a solution? Wouldn't that be worth $8.3 billion? There are 4 kinds of domestic violence: physical assault, sexual assault, threats of harm, emotional abuse, and verbal violence. Physical assault, that's pretty easy for most of us to understand. Somebody's getting slapped, kicked, pushed, or strangled in their relationship. Sexual violence, we also think that's pretty easy to understand. Somebody gets raped by a partner, but it also includes exploitation and demands that a partner be involved in things that they don't want to be involved in sexually. Threats of harm. Perhaps it's easy for us to think that, if somebody's threatening you, it's never going to happen. A partner says, "I'm going to kill you if you don't stop doing that." But what if they start to threaten to harm your children or to kill your pets? You can see how intimidating and frightening that would be. Emotional abuse and verbal violence. We have that old adage, sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. Except, you know what? That's wrong. Words do hurt. Debasing words, critical words, judgmental words, unkind words over time, repeated over and over and over again, they leave a mark. They leave a mark just like physical abuse does. People lose themselves. They start to give up. Their self-esteem gets squashed. The effects of being victimized, especially in your own home, may generate a variety of symptoms. Physical symptoms, like not being able to sleep anymore. Behavioral symptoms, like not doing the things that used to bring you pleasure, that you liked. Social things, like avoiding contact with others and other people that you may have enjoyed meeting before, because you don't want them to know your dirty little secret. Emotional effects like crying all the time, or maybe being so numb you can't cry anymore. And psychological effects like beginning to lose yourself in the relationship, not being able to function, not being able to think clearly anymore, not being able to know how to get out, how to make it stop. Those who commit violence in their intimate relationships are more often than not just normal people whose issues and situations have exceeded their resources and their coping skills. However, there are some experiences that may increase the likelihood that a person will become violent in their relationships. One is if they have a past history of being violent or aggressive. The second is experiencing or witness domestic violence as a child. It's about 85% more likely that somebody who has had that experience as a child or witnessed violence between their parents, that they themselves would become a perpetrator or a victim. Using heavy drugs or alcohol will definitely have an effect on how people express their emotions, especially aggressive behavior and violence. Loss of a job or long-term unemployment can also lead to domestic violence in a relationship, especially if it's associated with worries and stress about finances, something that lots of us have worries about. Domestic violence can be resolved. For the key steps into ending intimate partner violence, including step 1, we've got to define the problem. That's what research is for. We've got to find out, who's it happening to? Where is it happening? Well, how long has it been going on? All of that information is critical data that can be compiled and used by decision makers who are going to decide where to put resources. Step 2, identify risk and protective factors. Not only identify the things that cause it to be more likely for somebody to be violent in a relationship, like the ones we've mentioned before, but also, how do people be resilient in relationships? How do some couples learn to just back away and cool off, and other couples fight it out? Step 3 is developing and testing prevention strategies. Using all the information gathered in our research, we can develop strategies to prevent IPV and then evaluate the methods once we've put them into place. And step 4, assure widespread use. What if we as communities, and not just cities and towns, but groups of people, what if we could encourage one another to utilize the healthiest strategies for managing our stress, managing conflict, and managing overwhelming emotions? What kind of effect do you think that'd have? I'm guessing a good one. If you or someone you know is being victimized in their relationship, make a difference. Make the call. Sheriff's departments and police departments across the country can guarantee the safety of a victim. They're also quite good at identifying the appropriate resources to ensuring long-term recovery from domestic violence. For additional information about how to stop domestic violence or what these statistics might be, please don't hesitate to contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You can call them at 1-800-799-SAFE. You can also gather information from the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and the Family Violence Prevention Fund. I'm Dr. Sage DeBexton-Breslin, and I've just provided you with some of the dirty details about domestic violence.